with the mission to investigate man's reaction to this new environment and safely recover the capsule and its pilot. Man rating for human spaceflight on what was previously a ballistic missile was no easy task. After several modifications and test flights, a Mercury capsule carrying Ham, a chimpanzee, was successfully launched and recovered on January 31st, 1961. Just months later, on May 5th, astronaut Alan Shepard launched on a Mercury Redstone rocket, becoming the first American in space.
Hi, I'm Janet Petro, and welcome to NASA's John F. Kennedy Space Center, where NASA astronauts have ventured forth on flights of exploration since the 1960s. And what an exciting time to visit our multi-user spaceport. Through our Commercial Crew program, we are sending astronauts to the International Space Station from American soil for the first time since the Space Shuttle program ended in 2011. We're continuing to launch new research experiments and supplies to the space station with our commercial resupply services and launching the most technologically advanced scientific instruments to date into space through our launch services program. This all culminates in our ultimate mission, the Artemis program, where NASA will return to the moon, this time with the first woman and first person of color, and continue on to Mars. In all our history, there's been one common theme woven throughout our DNA. It's our insatiable desire to explore beyond our home planet in our never-ending quest to expand our knowledge of the universe. As you venture behind the gates, you'll find a community of the most talented, dedicated, motivated workforce anywhere in the world who believe in the unlimited potential of space exploration. This is an active spaceport where new things are happening every day. You never know what you might see, so enjoy your
We're
tour.
approaching that building. Keep looking this way.
The vehicle assembly building straight ahead, 5 miles away.
Yep.
5 miles?
5 miles away.
Can't go up to it, it's security. But that's where they build the rockets in the space shuttle.
You are now approaching the
I
Vehicle
got it.
Assembly Building, or as NASA calls it, the VAB. It is one of the largest buildings in the world by volume, and is the place where NASA completes the final assembly of its rockets before launch. The sheer scale of this building is hard to grasp, even when you're right next to it.
Do you ever feel really small when you think about space? What about when you're standing next to a skyscraper or a really big bridge? Well, I feel about as small as an ant right now. I'm standing inside the Vehicle Assembly Building trying to grasp how large it really is in here. It has 4 bays. Each bay has 2 large horizontal doors below it and 7 smaller vertically opening doors above it, tall enough to fit the world's largest rocket through. In fact, these are the largest doors in the world.
It was built in the 1960s for the Apollo program. Every Saturn V rocket that sent humans to the moon was assembled right here. Every space shuttle mission also assembled within these same walls. After the space shuttle program, a major renovation to the inside of this building began to accommodate NASA's next generation of rockets, the Space Launch System, or
Tesla.
SLS. Lockheed Martin has developed a capsule called Orion that will sit atop the SLS rocket. This capsule is designed to facilitate human exploration of the moon and eventually Mars. The first flown Orion capsule from Exploration Flight Test 1, EFT-1, sits inside the NASA Now exhibit at the Visitor Complex. This uncrewed test flight launched atop the Delta IV Heavy rocket in 2014. The 4.5-hour flight took the spacecraft around
The building
Earth
is
2
here.
times before splashing down in the Pacific Ocean, where it was recovered and eventually brought back to KSC. Developed by Lockheed Martin, this rocket-powered tower, designed to sit atop the Orion crew module, is built to quickly propel astronauts away from the rocket in case of an emergency.
Building.
The launch abort system underwent a critical flight test in July 2019 called Ascent Abort 2. It launched atop a U.S. Air Force booster carrying a boilerplate, or non-functional, version of Orion, and successfully performed the abort maneuvers, proving that the LAS will be ready for its first launch, Artemis 1. Construction of the VAB required 65,000 cubic yards of concrete, 45,000 steel beams, 1 million steel bolts, amounting to almost 100,000 tons of steel. Notice the flag painted on the outside of the VAB? It's the size of a 21-story building. The blue section alone is the size of an NBA basketball court. Each star is 6 feet across, and each red and white stripe is wide enough for this bus to drive down. And the entire VAB? It's so huge that the Roman Colosseum would fit on the roof with room to spare for a parking lot. By volume, the VAB can fit 3.5 Empire State Buildings, and it would take 250 billion ping pong balls to fill it.
Here's the building.
I'm inside the LCC with Charlie Blackwell Thompson, NASA's first female launch director.
So much
Charlie,
bigger
can you tell us a little bit
than
more
the
about what
Titanic.
the launch director does?
Absolutely. The launch director's job during the
We have alligator here on the left side of the bank.
It's an alligator? Alligator to the left. It's the left side. Alligator to the weird.
flight and the ground systems are go or no go.
Yeah, makes sense. So I hear that you're going to be the launch director for the inaugural flight of SLS with Artemis 1. Can you tell us a little bit more about the mission of the Artemis program?
Well, if you think about all that we did during the Apollo program, how amazing that was. So it seems so appropriate that as we return to the lunar surface, we return to the moon, that we go under the banner of Artemis, the twin sister of Apollo. And while there are similarities in our program, there are also differences. This time our trip to the moon will be on a brand new rocket known as the Space Launch System, or SLS, carrying the crews in the Orion spacecraft.
What is
Here to your right, between the buildings, you're going to see the crawler transporter parking right there. We have 2 crawlers made in Ohio back 1960s, 6 million pounds each, giant tractor. Crawler number 2 delivered the SLS from the assembly building to the launch pad B, 4.2 miles away.
That's what they put
Takes
the
about
shuttle on,
11
and it goes on the
hours.
railroad tracks all the way out to the...
Altogether, 24 million pounds, maximum speed 1 mile per hour.
Finishing up our preparations for launch. Our software is nearly done. We're working on our procedures. Our team is training. And so we're really finishing up those last few steps as we push toward launch.
Charlie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. I know that we are all very excited about the future of the Artemis program.
Absolutely. Thank you. And go Artemis. Artemis is actually named for the twin sister of Apollo.
Why some say the moon?
John F.
Why
Kennedy.
choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago? Why the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
When President John F. Kennedy made this speech in 1962, he set in motion an era of discovery that would change humankind forever. 7 years after he spoke these ambitious words, the world watched as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first people to walk on the moon. The achievements of the men and women who worked on the space program in these early decades of NASA helped propel the technology we use every day. NASA and the thriving private space industry at Kennedy Space Center today are the living legacy of their story.
Okay, we're going
As we arrive
over
at
the
the Apollo
railroad
Saturn
track.
V Center to learn more about that historic era, get ready to step back into a time when NASA had everything to prove to a nation focused on one goal.
Oh boy.
And straight ahead, launch spot 39A. Every man who walk on the moon learns from this spot over there. 1969 to 72. Today, SpaceX gonna use it for 20 years, delivering astronauts to the International Space Station. On the left side, we got the moon rocket sitting over the SLS.
Ooh.
Launch spot 39B. They're gonna use the B for the deep space. Go to the
Back
moon.
there, on the other side of the water.
Oh yes, yes, I see it. I see it.
How they get it there? On that there's railroad tracks going out there, and they were on that crawler thing. So we
And
go
straight
1 mile
ahead,
an hour.
we
It's
have
gonna
the
take
moon
days to
garden,
get over
the
there.
restrooms outside, the restrooms inside. Make sure you have your cell phone with you. Sunglasses, wallets before you leave the bus. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Okay, so when we go back, we'll be on a different bus. So make sure you have everything. Don't leave anything on this bus.
Please check around your seat to make sure you have all of your belongings before departing the bus. Wait at the metal doors to enter the Apollo Saturn V
Alright, we're here.
You show me every 10 minutes.
It was super fun. Especially crossing the train track.
Board a bus back to the straight.
Not really, but it was okay.
To me, not your
We're gonna get off,
opinion.
but when we go back, we're going on a different bus. So don't leave anything on this bus.
There's no Starbucks here.
No food here. We're gonna be here, and then we'll go back over there and have stuff. I don't think there's.
Oh, there's a breakfast too.